All righty. So thank you so very much for joining us here and joining me, taking some time out of your busy day. We normally have webinars. I always like to say that here at IAMS, if it's 10 o'clock Central Time on a weekday, guess what? You're learning something that you may not have known before. Well, it's not 10 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock. and we do so many webinars, we like to jam as much content as we can throughout the days and weeks. And so I'm glad that I have your attention here to talk a little bit about the Secure Advantage 6. If you caught that on the email there, that's through Bright House Financial. We launched this product about February or so of 2019, and it's been a hot seller for us. It's one of those very unique products, and Caleb Dishman, who's from Market Synergy Group, will be joining us. I know that the actual email said Jared Anderson, but he couldn't make it. So Caleb, who probably knows the product a little bit better from what Jared told me, is going to be joining us here in a little bit. And as you know, on the IAMS webinars, we typically go through about 10 or so different slides to talk about what we do here. And if you already write business with us, I see some agents on the screen already that attendees are writing with us currently. So you probably are familiar with what I'm about ready to say, but if you're not, then you'll learn something as well. So thank you very much for joining us. I always like to highlight the 800 number at the top there, 800-255-5055. That is a number that I typically say, I don't know, 58,000 times a day as I'm talking to agents every day. It's a number that you'll come to realize is the only number you need here at IAMS. You call and you get one human being, one answer. Typically, with other companies, I know I call other companies as well, and you get I know insurance companies, that's not practical to have one particular number, but just in general, as you're going through your daily life, calling various things and for various services that you might need, not necessarily related to the insurance business, it's very, very nice to get a human being on the phone. As opposed to press 1 for this, press 2 for that. So we just really love that, and a lot of agents that write business with us really like that as well. And it's just a great way to get a lot more efficient way of handling business, and we just really like it here. Okay, so IAMS Business Builders. So that is something to increase your capital. The referred producer program. So when you refer an agent to us and they contract with us, you get a $50 check sent to you, and then you get a lot more than that when they actually write business. I always like to say you get to ride along with them or benefit from their efforts. Another way of saying that is just a nice way of doing that. Other IMOs, I've certainly worked at a few other ones that it's not as good as it is here when it comes to referrals, because you usually get a referral bonus, but you don't necessarily get to pocket from, or I should say get money from production, or I should say earnings and revenue from what they do. So it's outlined right there. It's a 20% business or 20 basis points on the referral after they contract. Marketing reimbursement, typically what we'll do is let me get back to that screen, sorry. We would pay you based on the production that you write with us. That's marketing reimbursement. I have an agent that's collecting about $2,000 in marketing reimbursement right now to pay for a lead program that we offer. So it's just a nice way of getting some extra dollars to be spent on to get extra dollars. New producer builders, that's the first 6 months of production here at IAMS. There's 5 different levels, used to be 3, now we have 5 different ones, 100, 250, you kind of see the different levels there. A lot of agents qualify for that. We had one agent who wrote 250, I think it was, and just got a $1,500 Visa gift card. And we've had other ones that, of course, the better way is to actually use, as you see, we have different levels here that give you a seminar program. That's Retirement Boss Radio. We also do some various things. If you're interested in becoming a radio, having a radio show, there's a nice way of doing that as well. But you can see the various levels there that you can qualify for. Again, that's your first 6 months of production here at IAMS. Back office support is kind of what I do every day. We have about 10 or so different annuity sales directors here that work just like I do. We try to help you work smarter, not harder. We do everything we can to make your life a lot better. Such as case design, forms at your fingertips, submission to commission support, life and annuity quotes. That's typically what I do. Run illustrations. Again, anything that I can do to make your life a lot better when it comes to annuities, we're here for you on that. Paperless contracting, just a little note on that, and we'll talk about that through Assurance Bay. It's a nice way of getting contracted. So gone are the days, used to be back in the day where you actually had to fill out a whole New York City phone book full of contracting forms, and nobody wants to do that. Now we have paperless contracting, and it's just a lot more efficient way of getting appointed with a particular carrier that you want to work with. Along with using a mouse instead of a pen, Firelight, that's a way in which you can write applications, and Brighthouse, of course, is one of the ones that you can write the Firelight or write the Secure Advantage product through Firelight. And surprisingly, we have a lot of agents using that. It's kind of a slow burn, if you will. Agents don't exactly love the internet. They like to get email and stuff like that, but submitting applications through the internet has just been one of those things. It's been a slower process, and we're just very pleased that a lot of agents are gravitating towards that. Cause I can't say enough good things about Firelight and just submitting electronic applications. I'm sure every company would love every agent to do this. You have a cleaner application, you have less problems, you get paid a lot quicker, less back and forth. You name it. I mean, you can talk about this till the end of the day to talk about how much better it is when you write a electronic application. Carriers that are available through Firelight, you see those ones on the left there, and we're getting a lot more carriers. And this is a little bit of an older slide, but there's a lot more carriers that are added on there. It's just kind of one of those things. If you want to know if it's through a Firelight, let us or ask us, and we can find out. But most of the top carriers are on Firelight. Creative marketing solutions. It's a slide I like to kind of pause for a little bit and talk about it. I have not seen, and I've worked in the industry for 25 years now, and I've not seen, of course I work here and I earn a paycheck here, but I've not seen a more robust marketing and creative solutions than what we have here. I just worked with a guy yesterday. We did a marketing analysis and we talked about his website and way in which you can drive traffic to it and lead sources and things like that. So that's the other thing is a marketing analysis. If you've not had that done before, it's just a great way of doing it. We do it in the industry to do fact finding on all of our clients to find out what particular products are the best suitable for them. Well, that's exactly what we do for you, for the agents that are out there. We want to make sure that we kind of get to know you a little bit about what you do, where you spend your marketing dollars, and how we can best help you. So it's really good to get to know that. If you've not done a marketing analysis, please contact your marketing, your annuity marketer, annuity sales director, and we can help you out with that. But turnkey solutions, agency solutions, and digital solutions, personal website, I always like to say, if you don't have a website, in this day and age, we're in 2021, last I checked. I was at a wedding reception about 2 months or so ago, and there was a guy there that was actually a realtor, and he was talking about some real estate that he had in a house, that whatever it was, and I went and looked him up. You couldn't find him on the internet, and so therefore I forgot his name. And so if you're in the industry, you're in this industry, and you meet somebody, and you get the stage to tell them what you can do for them, and the next thing that they do when they get to their car, hopefully it's not when they're driving, they try to look you up to see what you're all about. If they can't find you, you're going to be forgettable, and we want you to be memorable. So take advantage of that if you would, and we would love to help you out with that. The IAMS website, of course, speaking of websites, that's we have that. It's kind of a moot point, but there's a lot of great things on the website. Creative Solutions Library is one I always like to highlight. Outside of the annuity business, there's also the life insurance industry and life insurance business, I should say. A lot of great things on there, sample documents, key man policies, Section 162 bonus plans, all kinds of various things that are on there that don't necessarily point to annuities, but there's annuity stuff as well. But I'm just saying there's other things on there that are just great tools to use in the industry that make you look more smarter in front of a client. Retirement Analyzer, within a week, next week, I'll be doing a webinar on the Retirement Analyzer program that we offer to all of our contracted as well as producing agents. Number of agents, we have an agent that wrote a $950,000 case as a result of the Retirement Analyzer. And it's just something to take a look at. It's, like I said, it's free for use as long as you are contracted with us. in writing business with us. We can get into that, but like I said, if you're interested in that, sign up for that. We'll be sending you an email a couple of days prior to that event. But I've seen the software. I used to use something similar to it when I was a Prudential rep back in the early 2000s. It's very robust, and it's just a great way to find out where your client's at and where they want to be, and where the income gaps might be. I think I just rhymed there. IAMS Wealth Management. This is where I'm going to have the first poll question. IAMS Wealth Management. So we have an IAR. I'm sorry, we're an RIA. That's the entity that we are. If you want to become an IAR, which of course increases revenue. I have a 65, and I know for a fact that it's increased my overall revenue and what I do. But if you're interested in that, please, I'm going to go ahead and launch my first poll. Actually, I don't have a poll on that, but I'll be in touch with you on that. If you're interested in that, please let us know, and we can help you out with that. Okay, this is the poll I wanted to launch here. So Life and Annuity Academy, we're having an academy coming up the end of September. It's going to be sponsored by Athene. It's just a great way. We talked at length about it in our meeting this morning about this. We've kind of made ourselves famous for these academies that are held in Des Moines by various carriers, and we sometimes sponsor most of it as well. But the lion's share of the actual fees are paid by the actual carrier, so we're kind of up to them, up to the mercy of their decisions as to who they finally choose to come to these things. But it is, and I've been to one of them. You can't help but learn something from this because you're with other agents, multi-million-dollar producers. Sometimes agents that are there that we invite there are sometimes are $20 million producers, and they're guest speakers and things like that, and where you can kind of learn from what they do. And a lot of these things are on there already, but on the left-hand side there. But best income writers, wealth transfer tools. It's just a great way to learn from the best. And if you're interested in that, I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll here. And I'm going to leave it up for a little while. But if you're interested in the actual academy, please indicate that you'd like some more information on that. Okay, I think I pretty much have everybody there. Appreciate that. Can tell you're paying attention as well. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Caleb. Hopefully, Caleb, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and change the presenter to you.
Can you see my screen?
Sure can. And I was just going to say the reason why I kind of named that presentation the industry best volatility control strategy, because those, and Caleb will be talking about that a little bit, but they just introduced a Credit Suisse volatility control strategy. And I know you hear these different names, Mark V, Credit Suisse, all kinds of various things. And I just think that this one here is one that I just kind of like the best. And Caleb will go over that, of course, but it seems to perform the best. I ran one the other day, 120% par rate is something you can't beat. It's guaranteed for 6 years as well. So I'll go ahead and shut up and let you speak.
All right, thanks, David. My name is
welcome.
Caleb Dishman, Sales and Marketing Director for Market Synergy Group. We are a product development and distribution company, and extremely excited about partnering with Brighthouse and coming up with this Secure Advantage 6-year fixed index annuity. David asked me to just take some time to kind of go over the product real quick. I'll just give a kind of brief overview, and then we'll get into the new Credit Suisse index. So we built this product on 3 pillars: protection, growth, and clarity. Your principal is 100% protected. You're going to hear when we talk about the annual sum strategies some negative performance. Just remember this is a fixed index annuity and you can't lose any of your purchase payment. Growth, we have the innovative annual sum index accounts, which we'll get into. We have a performance lock on the 6-year point-to-point. And then we have 3 indexes. We have the S&P 500, Russell 2000, and the new Credit Suisse True Vol U.S. Target Sectors Index. And then the clarity, there is no fees on this product. The daily difference is you can track your values daily. You can track your death benefit and your interim value daily, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then you have a 10% annual free withdrawal amount based on your initial premium. You put $100,000 in, you get 10% or $10,000 each year as a withdrawal, starting in year 1. So kind of differentiators about this product, the 6-year annual sum indexed account, we'll kind of go over in a little bit. Again, the performance lock just on the 6-year point-to-point participation. Daily difference is you'll see that this product has 3 different values on it. We have an interim value, death benefit value, and a daily performance value. The daily performance value and death benefit value are always going to be the same. They just like to break it out into 2 separate values. So we'll go over that in a little bit. And then obviously the new Credit Suisse index. So the interim value, the way I like to explain this to people is this is your time served value. Because these are multi-year indexes, we have an interim value which shows you your time served. So if you're 2 years into the term, this value will show 2/6 of your full performance since this is a 6-year product. So in this hypothetical example, the client has completed 3 contract years. They're in the 1-year annual sum. So let's say you put $100,000 in, your calculated performance is up 10%. So because you are 3 years into that, you get 3/6 or 50%. So now your performance rate is 5 and your interim value is 105,000. So now here's your death benefit value, and I'm going to jump forward 1 slide and then come back. So your death benefit value and your daily performance value, if you look in the bottom right, it says daily performance value 110,000, death benefit value 110,000. So those are always going to be the same, and that is full performance to date. Okay, so even though you're 3 years in, you're not all the way through the term, you put $100,000 in, your calculated index performance is up 10%, you get the full performance rate to date at 10%, your death benefit value is now 110,000. Okay? Now the performance lock is just on the 6-year point-to-point strategy. And what this does, this gives the client a one-time opportunity to lock in their performance at any given time during the contract. So if they're 5 years in and they're up 30% and the client's okay, they say, hey, that's good, I'm up 30%, I'm happy with that. They can lock that value in, sit on the sideline for the remaining year, and then that's what their return is at the end of that 6 years. And now, so the annual sum strategy, this is the new strategy that we came up with, our new innovative strategy. What this is I'm sure everyone is familiar with how a monthly sum works. If the index goes up or down in any given month, you add 12 months together and that's the return you get. Normally those are capped and have no downside protection. For simplicity purposes, the index could go down 30%, now that'd be a terrible month, but you still have to take into account that negative 30 you have to make that 30% up to become whole again. Well, on the annual sum, we're doing the same thing, but we're doing it on an annual basis. So we're adding 6 numbers together, and we have a downside protection of 10% every year. So the most you can go down in any given year is 10%. These rates are locked in every single year, so there are no renewal rates on this product. And so if you add up all those 6 numbers and the total is negative, then you get a 0 because, like I said earlier, it's still a fixed index annuity, so your purchase payment is protected. So we're going to walk through that here in a minute. This slide is just telling you you're adding any positive index performance, you're adding any negative index performance, but if it's negative at the end, we're going to make you whole. Now, I'm a visual learner, so this slide actually helps me a lot. This is an example of how the annual sum works. Using a 50% participation rate. So year 1, indexed at 6%, you got 3 of that. Year 2, it did 4.72, you get 2.36. Year 3, it went down 2.7, so you're going to calculate a negative 2.7. Then the next year, and the next 3 years, and so on. So your total, once you add all those up, is 12.25. Now, the one thing is sometimes people kind of get hung up on this. You get 50% of the upside on the participation rate. it's 100% of the downside, but you're capped at the -10. Okay, so some people think it's 50% of the downside as well. It's 100% of the downside, but you're capped at the -10 floor. Now this, I actually really like this slide. I like to point out one thing on this. If you look down at the bottom in the blue, you have the index, the negative index performance. If you go from year 2 to year 3, okay, your index starting value was 990, the ending value is 850, so that's a negative 14% performance. We capped you at the -10, but if you see in year 3, we're starting you at 850, so you're starting at that -14 index value and getting the full upside of that from the lowest point. Okay, so you're capped on the -10, but you get to start at the lower value to get the higher performance, hopefully for the next year. Okay, so that's kind of a basic overview of the product. Wanted to get into the annual sum and how that works. That's been a really popular strategy, especially with the renewal rates. There's no renewal rates, and your rates are guaranteed for the entire 6-year term. Now I kind of want to talk to you about the new Credit Suisse TrueVol U.S. Target Sectors Index. Okay, so this index is built on equity, fixed income, and we have a new risk control mechanism. Okay, so exposure to U.S. sectors with lower volatility and the potential to recover after a period of relative underperformance. That's the equity strategy, fixed income, and then you have a risk control mechanism, and that's what makes it up. And we're kind of going to break those down out in the next couple slides. So the equity strategy is 11 ETFs representing the sectors of the S&P 500. You can see those 11 sectors over on the left side. Every month, the index picks the 5 sector ETFs with the lowest recent historical volatility, weighted in reverse rank according to their 6-month returns. And it's a 4.25 volatility control. So basically, each month that those 5 sector ETFs are chosen, and then they're reverse ranked. Each day, the percentage allocated to those 5 sectors can change. Okay, and then we partnered with Salt Financial to come up with this intraday data volatility mechanism, which we'll go here in a second here. And then your fixed income is your adaptive allocation between short-term and medium-term U.S. Treasuries. So you have 2-year and 10-year U.S. Treasuries. Risk off means you're 50-50 in both. Risk on means you're 100% in the 10-year. So now here's how the TrueVol risk control engine works. The TrueVol risk control engine is a patent-pending, powerful risk management toolkit designed to market volatility and risk-controlled index strategies. Powered by higher frequency intraday data, the TrueVol risk control engine aims to react faster to market events for more efficient volatility targeting, suitable for a range of benchmark equity and cross-asset quantitative index strategies. So actually, what we're going for on this is most indexes look at end-of-day data to end-of-day data. For simplicity purposes, I'll kind of give you what TrueVol actually does. So let's say the index ended at 3,000 yesterday. Throughout the day, it went up to 3,200, down to 2,600, up to 2,800, and then ends at 3,000 again. Most indexes, actually all other indexes, are looking at the 3,000 and 3,000 and saying there was no volatility in that day, so there's nothing we're going to change. TrueVol, what it does is it looks at all those intraday data points to see the volatility, which lowers the option budget for the insurance company, which can give you a higher par rate and hopefully higher returns. And like I said, it's a 4.25 target volatility. With this new intraday data risk control engine, it's more looking towards like a 5% volatility, but they're able to lower that option cost for the insurance company. And this is kind of showing you what a base risk control index does. Higher volatility, you're more in cash. Lower volatility, you're less in cash and more in the base index. So you have limited response to rapid market changes by only using daily closing prices, like I was going over. No ability to adapt to changing volatility, and not providing higher par rates with a limited option budget. So that's kind of our goal with this TrueVol risk control engine, is to get more data points, which will hopefully give you higher par rates and in the long run, hopefully that's a higher return. Again, this is showing you all that intraday data that they're going over. Leverages high frequency data for faster response to market volatility. Uses indicators of volatility regimen to adapt to different market environments, and automatically adjust target volatility to seek returns more opportunistically. Here is a breakdown of how the Credit Suisse has done. If you look back to 2016, you can see we had a few years that we had 11.5 year, 8.6, 8.2, and year to date it's up 2.6 as of last week. Here's just some microsites for both the Credit Suisse Index as well as the SALT Financial for the TrueBall risk control engine. The last thing I want to do is just kind of walk through how illustrations look and how they work. We'll just kind of go over through a couple examples. So this one is going over the 6-year annual sum TrueBall Credit Suisse Index. So you have 115% participation, the floor of -10 each year. Okay, so we'll look at year one. Your calculated performance was 10.13. You got 115 of that, so that equates to 11.65. Your full performance is 11.65. If you jump all the way to the right side, it says daily performance value. That's also your death benefit. It's 111,647. That'd be your death benefit. Jump back to the performance rate. Your adjusted 1/6 of 11.65 is 1.94. That equates to your interim value. If you look over on the right-hand side again, in the middle column of that green color, interim value is 101,941. Okay, so those should match up. And then the next year we're going to do the same thing again, and we're going to add those values up. Your death benefit jumped to 121,891. Your interim value is at 107,297 because you're 2/6 of the way through the contract at that point. And your geometric average is 6.03 in this strategy. There's also a 6-year point-to-point participation. Now remember, this is the one that you have the one-time opportunity to lock in gains. The calculations work the exact same. Geometric average on this is 7%. This is a page on later down on the illustration. We always say page 17. I think that's what it is on most states. This is 3 6-year breakdowns of each strategy, whether you have the S&P 500, Russell 2000, or the Credit Suisse TrueVol US Target Sectors Index, and just kind of how each of those options would have performed. You have an annual sum cap, annual sum par, and 6-year point-to-point, and these are all showing the middle band rates. So 100,000 to 500,000 are what these rates are. Here are the rates as of today. As you can see on the left-hand side, top left, we have annual sum with cap. Top right, annual sum with participation rate. Then we have point-to-point with par rate, and then the fixed account. So there is one fixed account, which does change each year. But if you go to either the annual sum with cap, annual sum with par, or the point-to-point, there are no renewal rates on those strategies. We have 3 bands: 50,000 to 100,000, 100,000 to 500,000, and 500,000 plus. So on the annual sum cap, we go from 5.5 to 6 to 6.25. On annual sum with par in the S&P, it's 40, 50, and 55. Point-to-point with par rate, it's 30, 40, and 45. As you can see, the annual sum with cap does not have the Credit Suisse index on there. It's only on the annual sum with par rate and the 6-year point-to-point. The annual sum with par on the Credit Suisse is 105 for the low band, 115 for the middle band, and 120 for the high band. The 6-year point-to-point is 110 for the low band, 120 for the middle band, and 125 for the high band. And you can also see the Russell in there as well. I believe this is my last slide. We always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You can diversify however you want inside this product. You can put it in 6 different strategies. You can put it in 2. You can put it in one if you want, but we just always don't recommend that. We like to spread it out. But these are just kind of some options that we kind of came up with on splitting those. As you can see, we have 50% S&P annual sum par, 50% in the Credit Suisse annual sum par. That's a 5.35% average. And then you can kind of see over from there. I'll jump to over 50% in the S&P annual sum par, 50% in the Credit Suisse, the 6-year point to point gives you a 5.85% geometric average. So like I said, we always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, kind of diversify, or we call it optimal allocations. And then, yeah, any questions, David?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody asking any questions. I don't know if anybody has asked any questions. Let me see here. I don't see if there's been any. No, there's not been any questions at all that I can see here. But as always, we typically will follow up with the individuals that were at least the attendees as well as those that registered. And I meant to say this at the beginning as well. So we do these every day, and we have a YouTube channel. I use YouTube quite a bit for other things. It's a pretty good little tool for educating yourself on various things. Either it's fixing a mower, which I used the other day, or doing something else. But we have it's IAMS. So if you go to IAMS and you actually subscribe to our channel, and then take it a step further and actually click the notifications bell, that would just mean that on your phone you'll get a notification every time we upload one of these videos, and you can watch them at your leisure if you want to at 4 o'clock in the morning with a bowl of popcorn in your lap or something if you'd like to. So with that being said, I appreciate your time there, Caleb, going over the product. And I know these volatility control strategies are a little bit more of a head scratcher, if you will, but we've found, and I always like to say this too to all my agents, we've seen it on paper as well as on paper. What I mean by that is we see it on the illustration, right? That's on paper typically, and then also on paper is the actual statement. So we've seen it actually, I've been in this business like 25 years working with indexed annuities for the past 17 or 18 years, and gone are the days where you're just using the annual point to point, these other, dare I say, sexier sort of volatility or strategies that use volatility as the mechanism and how they work. They've been out for several years now, and we've seen some really good performance, and this is no exception to that. So what I'll be doing is I'll be following up with each one of you. As I said before, I appreciate your time being on this. I know that 1 o'clock in the afternoon is maybe a difficult time to make it, but I sure appreciate those that attended, and you'll be hearing from me again. And Caleb, I really appreciate your time, okay?
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay, take care, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.